Hey there, I'm glad you made it. I'm Melanie. This is Enchanted Orchard Presents a vlog. I made you a clip. I hope you like it. I'll see you afterwards. Hello and happy Saturday. Today is June 20th, 2021, and I'm here to talk to you guys about trust. Exciting. So, I've tried writing for this lots of times this week. I've tried recording this lots of times this week, and I'm, I guess, stumped because there's so many different aspects and components to trust, or at least I believe so, that I really wanted to encapsulate them and really communicate them to you in a way that made sense. But I ended up rambling every time. There's just so many different perspectives. So I'm gonna do my best. That's why it's not like a clip and then me talking over it, because I couldn't write something that felt good enough to really bring this all together and for you to really understand where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to explain, I guess. So let's get started. Okay. I want to tell you about my relationship with trust, why I believe it's important to work on this, and how I had no idea that I even had a complicated relationship with trust. I had no idea I had a complicated relationship with it at all, until I started working on it, and then I was like, ooh, it's messy. So let's begin at the beginning. First and foremost, I do not want to talk about trust as it relates to other people. I want to talk about trust as it relates to self, right? So I want to talk to you about, do you trust you, right? Because the conversations I was having with myself were not those of, do you trust this person or do you trust this person? Because I feel like when I would do that, I would hit this wall where it was, well, I'm not in this person's head, so it's difficult for me to say for sure where they're going to be at in different times, and it's unfair for me to want them to not change, because I myself change constantly. From one week to the other, I'm a completely different person because I'm constantly working on myself and evolving and upgrading different aspects of my personality and just who I am, right? So I didn't feel like it was fair to hold people to that standard of, well, you can't change, because then how am I supposed to know if I can trust you? I didn't like that. Then I came across this video, I believe it was on TikTok, of this woman. She said that she didn't need other people to be part of the equation for her to trust anybody else. And I'm gonna explain what I mean. She said she trusts her own discernment enough to where she does not need to trust if someone's telling her the truth or if they're doing her dirty or not, because she trusts her own discernment that when she's having a conversation with that person or whatever arises, she trusts her own gut and her own discernment. And she's like, well, so then it eliminates the need to go down this really complicated rabbit hole of, can I trust this person, can I not? Well, if you work on trusting yourself and really build on that relationship with self and trusting and your discernment and your gut and really exercising that, then it eliminates you ever having to go through a spiral of, can I trust somebody else? Because you will already have this relationship with yourself and trust it. When someone stands in front of you, you will know whether you can trust them or not. just by being you, because you've already built that relationship with yourself and with trust. And I mean, we're freaking human lie detectors, you guys. If we just really get in tune with our gut and with our discernment, then you don't really need the extra shit. And I believe that, yeah, I'll say it. I believe that we are taught that trust is supposed to be between, it's not like, I was never taught that trust was between me and me. I was taught that trust was between me and another person. So then we spent so much time trying to figure out if we can trust other people and thinking about other people and replaying different scenarios, and well, he lied to me yesterday, but then that day he was really truthful, and we don't know. And it's like, when we could just be building a good relationship with our discernment and with our gut and with ourselves, so that all that is cut out. But then that means that we are not so dependent on other people. Because if we are taught from an early age to be self-reliant and in the ways of creating relationship with self, you know what I'm saying? Positive reinforcement should be coming from self. It shouldn't be coming from someone else giving you a gold star. Because then that means that your entire life you're looking for other people to tell you you're good enough for you to feel like you're good enough. If we were teaching children, hey, what do you think about the picture you just drew? Instead of being like, oh, here, gold star. You can give them a gold star. I think we should add the fact that what you think is what matters, not what I think, because you made that. It's your stuff. It's your life. So it's your opinion that matters. But then that means that we create a society that's very independent in the healthiest of ways, and they no longer rely on other people to feel worthy or to feel one way or another, which, by the way, makes advertisement pretty much irrelevant. But that's for another day. That's a rambling for another day. See what I'm saying? I start rambling. But the point of that whole thing was that I want to talk about trust with self. So let's go to when I realized that I had a weird relationship with self, with trust. With trust. I realized I had a weird relationship with trust when after I watched that video and I started really thinking about, well, do I trust myself? And then I realized, oh no, I don't, and that's what's creating the anxiety inside of me. Because I've had really bad anxiety for pretty much my entire life, which has led me to make very questionable decisions. But they brought me here, so we're grateful. I realized I did not trust myself to get me to where I wanted to go. And then when I started working on, okay, why don't I trust myself? I started getting the little critics that live in your head rent free, you know? I started getting real quiet so that I could really hear it, so that I could correct what was going on in my brain. And what I found was heartbreaking. It was shocking. Yeah, it was a bummer. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of a bummer. Because I found that the reason I didn't trust myself was because of conditioning from the people I love the most from a very early age. And I don't even think they realized they were doing it. A lot of it comes from people being, like, adults around us being afraid, just in general. Afraid to dream, afraid to do whatever, because they did lead lives before I was born, right? Where they were in danger, where they didn't get to heal, where they had a lot of stuff going on, you know? Stuff I never had to deal with. because of them. So the little voices in my head, the negative reinforcement that made me feel like I couldn't trust myself, they were the people I loved, you know? They were voices, they were phrases and things my mother had said to me, my father, grandparents, uncles, aunts, teachers, lovers, you name it. And this is not to say that I hold any resentment for these people, because I don't. I'm grateful for every person that has stepped into my life, especially my family. I do believe that we do choose our family and we do choose our path. And I'm really grateful for the path and the people that I chose, because the more you know how to play the game, the cooler it gets. And I love my family. I wouldn't want them to be any different. But because of them, I get to level up in the way that I do. And I get to learn the way that I do. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in. But where was I? So yes, the negative reinforcement were little voices of people that I admired, right? That I trusted. A part of me believes that if we put trust in anybody but ourselves, it's almost like setting expectations for another being, which I think is really unfair. Because I personally, it bugs me if I feel like someone's putting an expectation on me, because I change so often. I change weekly. So for someone to be like, well, I expected you to, don't expect, communicate with me. I am not an expectation. I am not an idea of a person. I am a person who lives, who breathes, who cries. You know what I'm saying? Don't put an expectation on me, because that is so unrealistic. Expectations are a root of suffering. Any kind of expectation, good or bad, any kind of expectation to me is a root of suffering. Because, I mean, what is that quote? God laughs. You make plans and God laughs, or something like that. It's because if we are expecting something, building it up in our minds, when the real thing comes around, it's never going to be good enough. It can't be, because you made it up in your head from, how do I explain this? The idea that you had in your head was influenced by trauma. It was influenced by things you watched on TV. It was influenced by wishful thinking. It was influenced by so many things that you're not even aware of consciously, that for you to put that really overly produced expectation and really heavily burdened expectation on another human who is just trying to do the best they can is wild to me. It's disrespectful, I believe, and it's really unfair for you, because you're going to hurt, you get hurt, and for the other person, because what you know, no, that's not cool. So that's how I feel about putting trust with other people. I believe that we should be working on our relationship with ourselves and working on strengthening our gut and our discernment and our trust that we know what is right for us, that our relationship with self is amazing, that we are in tune with our bodies and we know what's going on with ourselves at all times, because that means that we don't need to put any burdens on other people. If I'm really in tune with myself, then that means I'm a walking human fucking lie detector. Excuse my language. I'm a human lie detector. So then that means I don't need to put unrealistic expectations on anybody else or any kind of burden on anybody else, because when I walk into a situation, I know what is and what's not. I don't need you to tell me the truth. I don't need to depend on you. Well, is he healed enough to not manipulate me? No, I can see from a mile away I can see it from a mile away, if it's real or if it's not. And I don't need anyone else, just myself for that. And that's actually a really cool, healthy independence. that I think we should be teaching children, because it's not a difficult thing to do, especially if you're brought up with it. If you're brought up to have a good relationship with yourself, your life would be so much simpler. So to those parents out there, I'm not a parent and I am not an expert on anything. I'm just saying that my life got a whole lot better once I started asking myself, do I trust me? And why don't I? And really listening. The key about it is you ask a question, you guys, and you find a way to stay quiet. I talk a lot on the regular. So being in my brain is wild. Sometimes I'll be silent for like an hour so that I could really be inward. And I have to break my silence to yell, shut up, so that my thoughts get stopped for a second and so that I can catch my breath. So I get it. It is not easy to stay silent. That is not an excuse to not try. And to not keep trying every day so that you can get better at it. If you really want the answers for our lives, we need to ask the questions and be willing to listen. Only we know the answers to our own lives. And I've been wanting to talk about this for a while now, but I don't know if it's going to be rambling. I think the greatest scam we've ever been sold, well, not the greatest one we've ever been sold, because one of the greatest scams we've ever been sold is that other people, their advice matters at all. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. And actually, I realized this while giving advice to other people. I caught myself mid-giving advice and I realized I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. And neither does anybody else. Because of the simple fact that I don't have all the information for the situation I'm giving advice on. I wasn't there. I don't know anybody else that was in the situation. I am not that person. I have never been through the same trauma in the same exact way as this person. It is impossible for me to give advice that even would be remotely helpful in any way. But we've all been fooled into parents that are like, well, my parents, they taught me to trust their advice over my discernment any day, and they taught me this rigidly. Like, this is just what is, and it created a lot of friction in my house, because that's how much as a society we rely on the fact that we believe we have the answers. Elders, whatever the case may be. Now, I will say there is wisdom that we can learn from other people 100%. I'm just saying the idea that someone else has a better answer for a question about you than you is absurd. I mean, think about it. Another person cannot have a better answer for a question about you. They can't. It's you. Only you are you. It's silly. It's silly once you break it down. So I just wanted to, I needed to get that out, you guys, because it's been bothering me for a while. I was like, why do we teach each other this? So yeah, that was that. So I rambled a lot. I'm not sure I got my point super across about trusting in self. I just want to break the idea. I don't want to break the idea. I want to encourage you to question whether we should be putting our trust in other people, or should we just be working on ourselves and trusting our own discernment. It just seems like such a better, you know how people say work smarter, not harder? Isn't that the definition of working smarter, not harder? Instead of having to work on on trust with every single person you meet in life, why don't you just work on you? And then, boom, you don't have to do that anymore. Every other person you meet, it's easy. Oh, are they telling me bullshit? I don't know. Are they telling me real? I don't know. You know, and then that opens up dialogue, because then people will be more self-aware. People who are more in tune are more self-aware. In a more self-aware society wins every time. Okay? We all know how to behave around each other without, this is gonna be controversial AF. Can't believe I just said AF. But we don't need laws and prisons. If everyone was encouraged to create a relationship with self and be in tuned like we're supposed to be, like the amazing, immaculate beings we are, then we would act in a loving, harmonious way to each other. People who are not hurt, they don't go around hurting people. That's not the case. We just create a society, and I mean we as in like the bigger scheme of things. I don't mean like we as me and you. We created a society where everybody's hurt, everybody's being manipulated by fucking advertisement, from advertisement to everything. Because everyone is hurt, everybody's experiencing trauma, and everyone's being gaslit from every which direction. So of course we need laws, because everyone is losing their minds. But if everyone could just take a deep breath, take a deep breath, and just get in tune with self and make that a priority, and then teach that to your children as early as you possibly can, I promise you the world we live in would drastically change, and I would put everything on that. I know that for a fact that would work, and I don't think that's a revolutionary thought. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will agree with that. So if I didn't cover it, or if something didn't make sense, or if I watched the video and I realized I missed something, I will make another video. I really wanted to make sure that this was an authentic video, because this is important and it's messy. It's a messy process, because any process in which you are cleaning out trauma and healing and then rebuilding on top of that is going to be messy, and it's not linear. Okay? Today I might feel like I really trust myself and things are great, and I just on a great frequency. Tomorrow I could like have anxiety because I don't trust that I can keep the faith in myself. In an hour I can feel like that. It is not linear. Healing is not linear. So I don't want you to give up if you can't do it. Just try. There is no such thing as failure. I had this thought while driving the other day. How can there ever be such thing as failure in a world that was literally created for trial and error? We are the universe experiencing itself, you guys. We are here for literal trial and error. What happens when something happens? Cool, well that happened, well let's fucking learn from it. Excuse my language. It's trial and error. That's the whole point of the human experience. Do not take it so seriously, but also take it seriously. It's a paradox of life. I love you. If you have any questions or anything at all that you want to make a comment about, leave it in the comments. I will have a description for my Etsy and stuff like that. I will be down in the description, and I will start. What was I gonna say? I'm gonna start doing tarot readings as well. So tune in for those. Thank you for tuning in, you guys. I love you, and have a lovely rest of your weekend. Hey, did you love it? Maybe not. Either way, let me know down in the comments. Please make sure to check my description for my TikTok and my Etsy. Thank you for your support. Until next time, my loves.